reaching out to people and trying to teach them, and always never turn down any ideas. I didn't care if you'd been there 30 years or if you'd been there 2 weeks. I listened to you. And that was through my father. He always taught me that. Do not ever think you know everything, even if you've done something 100 times, it goes to wood turning or lineman work or whatever it is. Somebody might say some little something that you're like, I've been doing this whole time. And I try to listen to people and also try to pass that on to people, to have the openness of trying to, learn, but also be open, uh, pass it on, but also be open to learn new things, even if you think I've done it 100 times. And that has really helped me a lot. It really has, to try to be just open about everything, never turn it down. You don't have to do it. You can try it one time. You don't like it, whatever, a certain style or whatever.
Welcome back to Create and Connect podcast. I'm your host, Tom from the Phoenix Woodshop. Today's guest is Odell Daniels. Odell is a retired linesman from Missouri who found his way into wood turning and to teaching. We met at Maker Camp during a winter intensive, and it didn't take long to see Odell is as generous with his knowledge as he is skilled with his lathe. He spends his time turning wood and teaching whenever he can. He travels to craftsman classes and workshops across the country to sharpen his skills and to help others. Odell embodies what this podcast is about, creating with purpose and connecting through craft. Let's welcome Odell. Thanks for joining me today.
Good morning. Thanks for that good intro there. That's great. Love it. Well,
so we met up at the Blackthorn. We were just sitting down. I was at the stained glass intensive with Erin, and you were doing the copper foil bending with Curtis. And I was glad to meet you because friendly face and just showing me all your turning creations. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, and I've got into doing metal work now. Started doing the classes at John C. Campbell in North Carolina, teaching those. I've been teaching those for about 5 years. I was doing that before I actually retired. That is so great, because you got people come in there that don't know anything about a lathe, and you can take them and just take a log and cut it up, and by the end of the week you'd be amazed how much people can improve in 1 week. And it's just like with Curtis with the metals class. I've never done any metal folding, and Curtis is awesome. He's just unreal. And it was just a few days, and it was a couple days. We had to leave early because the snowstorm hit. That was a deal, but got back and been playing with that some, and then just got me a new tool. And we talked about that earlier before the broadcast here. That's great. Getting into more branching out, and I've been messing with a little bit of leather, just playing. Not good at anything. Wood turning's my deal, but I'm also trying to figure out how to incorporate either leather or the metal, copper, stainless steel, aluminum, bronze, brass, anything into my wood turning that I can kind of collab those materials and make some, branch out from just the wood.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you do absolutely beautiful work. I was looking at your Instagram feed, and the work that you do is so ornate and, very, very tight. It's beautiful. And the guys over at Working Hands podcast have Make What You Fear, where you take 3 different materials and incorporate them all together. And I could see you between the wood with wood turning, the metal and leather, and you could have something really great for that competition. And they got a lot of great people with prizes for that. So you still have time to enter that. Those guys are great over there.
Oh, I didn't even know that part of it. Yeah, and this is pretty fresh because actually at John C. when you get a resource class for teaching a class. So I've taken 2 blacksmith classes in the other one was probably 3 years ago, and the last one I took in I believe it was in October, end of October. And when I took that really got me fired up. And you've seen some of my work on Instagram, like the ladles and spoons and little forks. And that's where I got incorporated the copper and stainless steel mainly on those, and some mild steel. I try not to use mild steel on my utensils because it'll rust. But man, I've really got the bug on that. So I'm getting excited what I can, cross over and put together like that, combine the two. Really love
I
doing
was
it.
looking at some of your scoops, and they're really ornate, really beautiful, and how you have so many different scoops from, really tight bowl to, I guess, a scoop that is open ended, like for coffee beans or something like that. I mean, just
Right.
really, really nice. And then incorporating, I saw how you're branching a little closer into blacksmithing, and that I saw the scoops that you made off of blacksmithing. Those are fantastic as well.
You know, it's funny too that it's so great because you can see my sister. I talked to her the other day, and she had a scoop that she's had for years, and bowls that I've made so long ago. And actually, stuff that I look at now, I'm like, I kind of look at it and think, don't show everybody that, because after I've probably been wood turning 30 years, and and it wasn't a full time, but it was a lot. And there were spots in there that you take breaks from doing things. And so that's great though when you see people have your stuff. And I talk to people even, locally here that I've made stuff for. People had a lady call me this other day, and I made her a big cutting board, a round one, and like all wood turnings. Made her three different items anyway, and I just love making stuff for people like that because they appreciate it. The people that ask you to, make it, they're going to appreciate it. I love being around like at Makers Camp too because it's like-minded people that appreciate your work. And the other great thing is your work, like with me, I can go down to the local dump, take my chainsaw, and and sometimes you cut into a log, and I see stuff, but you still got to cut into it. Once you cut into it, and you see that beautiful grain popping out, you get out of that dead end and get into the heart of the wood. It's just unreal, and it's free. You go down there, just get it. That's even a plus. So, I
Yeah,
get
you were sharing some of those pictures with me. What a great resource where you can just go to the municipal dump and have, but you also need to have an eye. 30 years of turning wood, I'm sure you have got a pretty good eye of what you're going to get from the wood, but also what reveals itself when you do turn it. That's got to be exciting too.
right, and a lot of that is a placement. You can look at and you can manipulate the grain to it X in itself. Like in a bowl, you can have it centered better in the center of the bowl, and it just pops better. Little
Yeah.
details that I've learned through the years that helps your work look so much better too.
Well, I was looking at your Instagram and I saw that you've been on there for some time. You're on there for more than 10 years because I was looking back at some of the things that you did in 2015. Your beard was a little more solid in color. Mine used to be, now it's one color. It used to be another color years ago, at least 10 years ago. But I really enjoyed seeing your progression of how ornate and how you were teaching people to do the ornate turning. What was your favorite piece? What is the favorite piece that you gave away to somebody, and why was it your favorite?
Man, I got a bunch of them. I really do. Just recently I give away a piece of box elder, and I've got a story behind every piece of wood, just about. A lot of stuff that I get give to me. And this particular box elder, it has the red streaks in the wood. Have you ever seen box elder? In box elder, it has when it starts to decay, it gets red streaks in it, and it's unreal. It almost looks like red flames. And I had this bowl for a pretty good while. And I got it at John C. A guy we were over teaching, and a guy brought up a whole truckload of stuff and just dumped it off, and said, "Hey, get all you want." And it's like wood. When it gets to that point, everybody wants it. So I brought back all I could because, I'm 8 hours away and, from Missouri, from North Carolina. So I just loaded all I could in my truck and hauled it back. And so that's my story there. And I made that bowl. But I had a good friend that had put us up for the weekend. And so I give her, me and my partner, we went on a trip with them and they put us up and we was out in the country. And so I give her with that bowl, one of the made out of that. And I love that bowl. And that's a person there, though, that I love giving away my work to people that really appreciates it. And she's one of them would really appreciate it. And also, I give her one of those new scoops. So that's one of my favorite bowls, but I've got a bunch. I love cherry and walnut. I've got some walnut pieces right now. I give a piece to my instructor. Traded him. He bartered some stuff. He gave me some blacksmithing items, and I made him a hollow form out of walnut. And it's on Instagram, too, that last piece. Beautiful. I love it. I
Yeah.
love that walnut. I've got a whole pile of it right now. Excited to tear into that some more. Did you
Yeah,
see?
well, you're wood rich. I mean, if you could trade that into crypto, I mean, you'd be doing pretty good.
Right. Yeah, I guess metal's kind of that way, but I've bought some metal and stuff, like the copper and all that. You just can't, but you can find some stuff around. And like the other day, I had some wire, and my partner, she wanted some earrings, and she wanted some heart earrings, so I hammered her out some heart earrings, and I had wire that I'd used on a job, and I just cut off some pieces of that copper, and but also I've bought stainless steel and copper sheets, and and that's you get more into expense on that, but it's fine, but. Uh, I was going to say something else, and I lost my thought. Uh-oh, I'm getting old.
No, it's really nice to know that you can give part of yourself. It's more than just the time. It's also the creativity of what a person will like. A friend in North Carolina, you give a bowl and a scoop, and whether they're using it every day or just displaying it, that was given with heart. Again, that's what the podcast is about. Is
Right.
I think a lot of us in the maker community, it's not so much. This is our stress reliever, which it is. If you're doing a grind, I'm sure climbing poles for, was it 37 years?
37.
Yeah, I mean, you need to blow off some steam, and to work with your hands and see it evolve, and maybe move the wood in just a little different on the lathe, so you get that streak to come out right where you want it. That's a really great feeling. But then to share it,
Right.
that's the whole point.
I had another good piece, some of my favorite pieces. I had one, it was a big cherry log, and I couldn't believe it was beautiful stuff, and they were burning it. And I kicked the log out, actually kicked it out of the fire, and I incorporated part of that burn on one side of the bowl into my,
Cool.
and actually had that little bit of burn streak. And that bowl was one of my favorites because I saved its life. I kicked it out of the fire and made a bowl out of it and incorporated the little bit of the burn on the side of the bowl. And that was a beautiful piece. And, I'm racking my brain what I did with that bowl. I give that bowl to somebody, and that was another good one. And I can't remember who I gave it to. So there's a lot of bowls. That's why I say a lot of favorites. I've got a lot of wood that I've picked up. I was in Tennessee one time. I ate at Cracker Barrel, and I pulled around the back to leave, and they got firewood, behind the Cracker Barrel where they do the fireplace and all that. And there was a piece that was just called out to me. So I went back inside and talked to the manager, and I said, I got one piece of firewood out there. Can I have it? Or I'll get, pay you or whatever for it. And he said, get it. So I pick up wood. It's, I'm just driving around Cracker Barrel, and I see a piece of wood. And go back in and talk to the manager, end up with it. So, I mean, it's so funny. Went to Mexico, and I actually put a piece of wood in my suitcase, brought it back, made some bowl out of it, and it's just, all over. Just find whatever. The only place I didn't get any wood was up at the resort,
The
Makers
maker camp.
Yeah.
There's plenty around there, and there's also plenty of old places that you could repurpose. But sounds like you're going back up, and you told me that you got a reservation for October. I think you'll really enjoy it because they've got everything: forging, blacksmithing, power carving, epoxy, leatherwork, hat work, glass work, welding, grinding, smelting, stonework. You name it, they got it. You'll love it.
Well, I noticed Austin put on there a couple of days ago, countdown 265 days, or he's already. That's great. Love it. And that's all the people up there. That's what. So that's the reason I paid for I got my room going. Is that just everybody's so great? All the good people. And I've ran in that in every workshop though. Woodturning is a great community. But the metals class I took, all the guys there were just so great. And it's just like I just sat down at breakfast. I didn't know you from nothing, and we just struck off, conversation. Here we are, and I got to meet Jimmy Dresta. That was great. He come in, and he's just doing his thing, doesn't mind. And I've heard people say he's such a good person. He really is. After I got to talking to him, and he even told me, he said, "Now if you leave here and you run into trouble, call me, and I'll come get you." And I thought that was so great because he's got a lot going on, and for him to tell me that and to reach out to me when I left right in the middle of the snowstorm coming Sunday when I left up there, that was great. All the people were so good up there, and Curtis just so informative with all his stuff. just anything. And I asked him, I said, "Are you getting wore out yet, Curtis?" Because we worked pretty late, trying to get all we could in, and he was great. So that's
Yeah, that's
the other big deal is just being around like-minded people that, this has been. I think being retired now, I just it's really I'm going to be able to come into my own more. I'll have a little bit more time to do the things that I want to do and everything.
yeah, that's what I found. I found 2 years ago I retired, and the first thing that I did was signed up for the leather intensive up at the Blackthorn, and got to meet people that I consider close friends now. And leather is not my medium. I really enjoyed it. There was so much to learn. A guy like Curtis, he took his time with me at Maker Camp last October, and he crafted the cigar clip that I have in my hat band. And if I had done it myself, it would have taken me all weekend. He
Right.
did it in about 20 minutes. And the only thing he asked of me was to make a model of what I'm actually looking for, which I did out of cardboard and tape. And he put it together, and it's fantastic. And when you get a true skilled journeyman like that, and then he shares the knowledge so openly, that's what makes the community so great. And then you get a guy like Jimmy DiResta, where if you see him on YouTube, you would think he's unapproachable, which it's actually the opposite. He is such a friendly person, and you go from saying hello to being close friends before the end of the conversation. And he is the real deal, and he wants to see everybody achieve at their level. So it's not, you got to do this because I'm doing this. It's,
Right.
what are you doing? How are you doing it? Did you think about this? Do you need any help? Do you need any tools? And it really is, it's a great community if anybody thinks that they're slightly creative.
I'm so fired up about going to that. I really am. I know it's October, but I'll be thinking about that a lot. And I'm sure Austin will be keeping us fired up, putting stuff on Instagram, the countdown there. So that's so, like I said, that's cool. But Austin,
Did you
it's
happen
amazing.
to?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a revival for the town. It's community that really has flourished after the pandemic. And there's so many people who are creative, and they're trying to make that connection with other people in their own way. So if you're an introvert and you're not, a chatty Cathy like myself, this is a great community where all you have to do is sit down next to somebody who is, sewing a wallet, or working on stained glass, or carving a scoop, and then you just start talking, and you're doing the same thing. You got a natural connection, and then you end up giving it away, because every time I come back from one of the classes, my wife said, "What'd you make for me?"
Right. Thinking about even, I think well, I can't think of it. The lady does the purses. Her class is full of the next makers.
Jamie Seal.
Seal,
The,
yeah. Been following her. Yeah. I've never met her, but then there's the other guy that does the leather and with the metal stool, and
Ethan and Man-Made in Mass.
yeah, I think there may still be a spot open on their class, and you never know. That last minute get up there. I believe I'll drive this time though. I want to see the country a little bit instead of take my own vehicle. That's the other thing. You get up there, and if, like I said, I can't even haul wood back because I flew, and so yeah, I'd like to drive, but it's about a 17-hour drive, so I have to kind of plan that out and figure all that out because I couldn't do all that in one day for sure. I'd have to do it probably.
Are you familiar with Sparks and Sawdust, which is happening on Papa Chad's Hacienda down in Alabama?
No.
How far are you from Alabama?
Depends on what part, but I'd say average, because I can be in Gulf Shores, Alabama in about 6 hours maybe.
Okay. So I'll send you a link. So Chad wanted to have a maker event on the eve of Workbench Con, and that's not happening this year. So he's making it his own event, and it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, the 21st and 22nd of March. And he's in Lower Alabama. Like I said, I'll send you the link. But he said they're going to be doing metalwork, they're going to be doing welding, they're going to be doing woodwork, and they're going to be firing up pizzas because he bought a pizza oven from Chris from Green Money Fabs.
Right.
And, it's just makers getting together. And he goes, we're going to make sparks and we're going to make sawdust. So come on down.
Man, I'm getting fired up. I'm getting fired up
Yeah.
already. And I do think I did see that. I was watching it on Chad popped up there. I started following him also because I listened to all your podcasts, and I look at these people and following their stuff. And Papa Chad, I think I do remember that because he's gonna make a piece, and somebody will bring that piece home with them, some kind of piece or something. Yeah. And
so I'm driving down with Tony Peps, and Tony is a wood turner. And he said he was going to drive, and I was like, I heard he's got a small car, and I got a pickup truck, and I'm like, well, if there's going to be, I think what did they call it, the Spanish barbecue, and then I reached out to Chris at Green Money Fab, and he's in Jersey, and I said I could pick you up and bring you down. I'm trying to situate myself on, well, if I bring it down, I might be the guy who's bringing it back up. And then it could stay with me.
Right. I got you. That sounds great. I might just head on down there. Yeah, that's what I'm here for it. That sounds like a great weekend.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people. Just when you have the same language, and we're talking through our work and what we do with our hands, and everybody's an artist in their own right, whatever medium they're working with. Whether it's bowl turning or CNC or metalwork, you appreciate the time, you appreciate the vision, you appreciate the creativity that blossoms into what you see, the finished product.
Exactly.
And of course, a lot of us just want to jump in and be like, how can I help? What can I do? How can I learn?
Right.
And I'm really excited of how you're going to hone your own skills and learn, and all these classes that you've taken, like going up and doing, the foil bending with Curtis, and you're not just sitting home idle or turning in your shop by yourself. You're actually growing, learning, and then turn and teach that. And that's the greatest gift, that you just give it away.
Right. The biggest part I do sell some, but I really, like the other day, I made some pieces for a lady, and she kind of sent me some pictures. But I really do like just making my pieces and either give them away or sell them, but more giving away stuff. But I'm not big on somebody trying to conform me to and make me exactly this. I like making what I want to make, create what I want to create, and then go from there. And it works for me. It has for a long time. I think everything ties together. Doing line work for 37 years, I've been the same way with all the young linemen through the year. That I was a young lineman as I got probably the last 12 years. I didn't really work in the bucket and stuff, but I was more of a boss, rolled around pointing my fingers, and got jobs going and stuff. But that's just where I was at. But what I'm getting at is even there, reaching out to people and trying to teach them, and always never turn down any ideas. I didn't care if you'd been there 30 years or if you'd been there 2 weeks. I listened to you. And that was through my father. He always taught me that. Do not ever think you know everything, even if you've done something 100 times. It goes to wood turning or lineman work or whatever it is. Somebody might say some little something that you're like, I've been doing this whole time. And I try to listen to people and also try to pass that on to people, to have the openness of trying to, learn, but also be open, pass it on, but also be open to learn new things, even if you think I've done it 100 times. And that has really helped me a lot. It really has, to try to be just open about everything, never turn it down. You don't have to do it. You can try it one time. You don't like it, whatever, a certain style or whatever. And so I don't know where I was going with all that, but that's.
Well, I'm glad you said that in that way. I'm retired 2 years now, and as I was getting ready to leave, I knew that there were certain things that the younger guys, and even the not so younger guys, the more established guys, they needed to know as I was walking out the door.
Right.
I'm not holding all of the knowledge. I mean, there's still plenty to learn. And I had a chief tell me one time, he goes, I like to grab the Proby right away, coming out of the academy, and say, what do you know? And usually he's scared, like, oh no, the chief may not know the newest thing that's being taught at the academy. So he wants to be well informed, and he wants to understand the mindset of the new people that are coming on.
Exactly.
And there's so much to learn in the crafts, and so many crafts. And it was exciting to watch you go from the wood to the leather, because I happened to go through your Instagram and I saw how you repaired your backpack from Mexico with the leather.
Yeah.
And, taking Jamie's class would be awesome. And the other nice thing about going to those classes is they have the tools you need to do the job correctly.
Right.
And if you're trying to venture into something like leatherwork and you don't have the right tools or the fork to make the holes or the press sewing machine, Jimmy lends his hand crank sewing machine to Maker Camp during the weekend, and it goes through a veg tan so easily, and just it's like butter churning right through. And if you're making a sheath, that's the way you, and especially it's like going to Disney World. There's so many things to do, and you got to wait online till somebody's finished working on what they're working. You have to schedule out your day properly, but it's really exciting to see other people, meet you who's doing that. And, I could just tell in your voice the joy and excitement of learning that new process. And Curtis has been, doing it so often, so long that, to bend a cigar clip for him is easy. For me, I was so happy that, he helped me out with that.
And I thought that was really cool. And I seen that you had your cigar stuck in there while I was eating. I guess it was breakfast or wasn't. I seen it. I got to see it firsthand, and then I got to looking at that. You showed it to me. And I thought that is really cool. I mean, it's just little things sometimes, ain't it? Just the little things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might the wood turning deal. I might do some bowls and all that. Talking about going down there to Papa Chad's. I might bring a couple bowls down there or something and just give them give them away or something. I don't know. I'm gonna look into that when we get done after this podcast. Think about that. That's got back to that. I'm sorry. Made a U-turn and went back to Papa Chad.
No, that's great. Yeah. It's just nice to, one, have, people that are willing to open up to invite other people in. So I had a guy here on Long Island, Mike Stuber. He makes knives. And I said to him, hey, I got this Jimmy DiResta knife blank that I bought, and I want to put a handle on it. This is my idea. I want to have epoxy on one side so you can see the DiResta name, and on the other side, I have it filled in with wood like a Paduke, and can you help me shape the handle? And he goes, I love doing that. Come on over. So I went over to his house, long weekend in January, and his family was out. It was just me and him in his shop, which is his garage. And he showed me everything that he was doing. If I tried to do that on my own, it would have never have happened.
Yeah.
But he's willing. He was excited. And I'm like, thank you for being patient. Thank you for taking your time with me. And he's like, dude, I love doing this. He goes, when do you want to come back? It's like, I got a full life, and it's great. Meeting people in the community is great because, from what I understand, podcasting is new to you, and I'm really appreciative that you took the time to jump in, and you even actually made a financial investment with the headphones and the microphone. I appreciate that.
I just wanted to sound good. I didn't want no background noise. I hope it works out. I hope it's sounding good and everything. Yeah, looks a little different, but that's what I picked up that's a cheap investment for this, though. So I can use them for other things. I'd like to try to make some, more video too. I don't know if I'll get into the YouTube thing and all that, but, and then maybe if I'm editing, I can hear better and do it, and stuff. Like I said, I dropped the computers. I had to work on computers a lot at work. So now I've just used my cell phone for everything, but I may end up having to go back to a laptop or something where I can sit down better and do some editing. But my son does a lot. He's got a YouTube channel, and he does a lot of editing and is good at that. So I'm going to pick his brain a little bit, try to figure that out. I don't know if I'm going to get into that or not, but we'll see. I love doing the Instagram deal, and I don't post everything on Instagram at all. I should have probably posted this new power hammer that I recently purchased, and because I got it in on a crate, it was a 3 month ordeal getting it here, and then we had all the storm here too, and all the weather, and it went from Chicago to Memphis, and then went down to Mississippi. It circled me, completely circled me. When I finally got it in, the day they called and said, it's coming in, and I had to be an hour and a half away. I had a trip planned. I talked to you this past weekend. Had just left, but I had 30 minutes to spare after I got it loaded to hurry up, and take a quick shower, and throw the rest of my stuff in my bag and get out of here. That was this past weekend. It's so funny being retired. You think you really don't have as much time as you think, because I'm always doing stuff, and there's stuff I want to do, and I don't get stuff done. Sometimes I'm thinking, I don't understand that. I just don't understand. I should have all this time. Have you ran into that also?
Oh, very much so. So my dad was also a fireman, and when he retired and I was having kids, I would ask him, can you come over? And very generous with his time. He loved spending time with my boys, and such a blessing to have family involved. But he's like, hey, listen, I'm going away. And I'm like, what do you mean you're going away? He's like, yeah, I found this trip to Italy at the back of the New York Times, and I'm going tomorrow. I didn't tell you? I'm like, no, you didn't tell me. So now I'm retired, and I am so busy, so full. I have such a blessed life, and it is great. And I do find like I have been talking about cleaning my shop for 8 months now. And when I saw you in January, that was the only thing that I signed up for. I said I was going to take January off. No workshop, no woodworking. But I had already committed to that because I wanted to take that class. I also wanted to take Curtis's class, but It was the same weekend. Great for Austin for doing that and lining that up that way. But for me, it was a disadvantage because I can't do both.
Exactly. Yeah.
So one or the other. And now I took off for January. February 1st, I got 2 calls for 2 commissions to do the American flags, one for a promotee, one for a retiree. And I was like, okay, I spoke it out into the universe. I had off January, February 1st, back on track.
Back on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do electrical work on the side also. It's no advertisement. I got my license and insurance and all that when I retired, and went and got the local license and stuff. And so I've got to do that like tomorrow, change out a breaker box at a house for a friend, word of mouth deal. And that's my extra spending money for, these trips and stuff like that, equipment, whatever. And then that's been great. And it seems like, just like what you said, I had a little spot in there around January, and I didn't do much. Nobody was calling me. It was great. I loved it, And then all of a sudden I started getting these calls, and I had a call yesterday, a lady here in town. I went and looked at it. It was so simple. I went there 15 minutes, fixed her right up, So I still do that also. And, I was right in the middle of working in the shop, but I stopped and went over there and looked at that, and it's just great. I mean, it seems like it's all just meshing together for me. Do a little bit, and then when I feel like, I guess what I was getting at, when I feel like I want a little extra spending money, it seems like people just start calling me. I don't know. It's just, it's worked out that way. It's so crazy. I love that part of my retirement too, but I'm going to do some metalwork today though. I will do that today. I'm going to get the power hammer fired up. And if I do some of that, maybe I'll put that on Instagram. I need to show that on Instagram, the new tool. I'll try to do that. And,
well, you have a nice little following on Instagram, and even though you're not so much the content creator, you do have good content. You do have good editing skills. Have you met Pat Reynolds yet? So Pat is a friend of Jimmy's, and he has a place up in East Durham that's a vacation spot for his family. He's a retired electrician as well. Okay. So yeah, I'm sure you guys get together, you could chew the fat into the night, and he loves working with his hands and making things and connecting with people, and I think you guys would definitely hit it off.
Was he an electrician more like in New York City area, or yeah.
Yeah, he did a lot of high construction profile places. He was at the Freedom Tower. He did museums, libraries, airports. He did all that sort of stuff. But now that he's retired, he's going over and helping Mrs. McGillicuddy with her, fuses, and not even breakers, fuses. But yeah, I think you guys would really hit it off. And that's
He
nice
was on the podcast too. That's the one he was. Yeah, and I do remember him. Well, there's several, and I'm trying to remember all the names on there. It's hard to keep up with everybody, but yeah.
Well, if you listen to the guys of Working Hands podcast, like I said, they have their Make What You Fear, and the challenge this year is using 3 different materials. Keith is very direct, shall I say? So he did stained glass, and we were having some fun chatting it up, and he was saying to me about podcasts. He goes, most people don't go to their second. Like, he was telling me all these crazy statistics, and he goes, you got to 10, that's a milestone. He goes, let's see if you can get to 25. That's
Right.
The next milestone. So I appreciate you hopping on here to be number 11 and get me closer to 25. And yeah, maybe we can catch up in the fall and see if we met up down at Sparks and Sawdust.
Right. Yeah.
Let me give you a couple of rapid fire questions I usually ask people. All right. Pizza or tacos?
Man, it's got to be tacos for me. I love pizza, but tacos is my favorite. Yeah, most definitely.
All right. What's your favorite tool in your toolbox?
Well, it's got to be my lathe, my wood lathe. I've had it for 20-something years now, and I wouldn't take anything for it. That's my main thing, my main squeeze right there, my wood lathe. Love it.
And what are you looking forward to do if money or time was not an object? What's the one project you'd want to do?
Oh, I would build me a new shop house. If money and time was not, I would build me the biggest shop that I could get and put every piece of equipment I could put in it. I'd be like the leather, the glass, everything, and then have a little living area in the corner. Not worried about the living part. I want to have the shop. Built a 200 by 200, 20 foot tall. That would be my dream house, actually, to have a workspace that I could just do whatever I felt like doing that day. Yeah. Well, maybe if I win the lottery, I can do that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. What about collaboration? Who would you like to collaborate with? Who would you like to make something with?
Man, I haven't. That catch me off guard. I was ready for the questions, listen to all the podcasts. But that one there, the collaboration, man, that would be a.
Anybody, doesn't have to be maker community person.
Well, and I do have a maker guy. His name's Lance Ellis. He's a blacksmith, and he's one of my instructors. And we reach out. Matter of fact, the other day when I got my power hammer in, that's the first person I texted him a video of it, walked around it, and because he helped me out a lot picking this particular hammer out. And yeah, that'd be great because I've seen some of his work where he's done the wood and metal. They had an auction for the blacksmith community there at John C. Campbell in North Carolina, and they had this auction raise money. But anyway, they made a chest, wood chest, and he collaborated with a guy, and he made all the hinges and all the hardware for it. Beautiful. It was just beautiful. So if I could give him a wood turning or something and let him do the metal and wrap it with some metal or something, he's very talented. I think a lot highly of him. So that would be my choice there.
That's
Lance
great.
Elliott. Yep.
Yeah, hope it happens. All right, where can people find you and see all of your beautiful work?
Instagram, it's Odell_Daniels. I don't really put a lot on Facebook. Mainly it is Instagram. Odell_Daniels, yeah.
Odell, thanks so much for joining me on Create and Connect podcast. It was really nice to meet you up at Maker Camp. It was real nice of you to share your time with me, and I look forward to getting to be friendlier with you, and hopefully we see each other at Sparks and Sawdust.
Sounds great, man. I appreciate the invite. I really enjoyed it. So
good deal. All right, all the best.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Odell again for joining me today on Create and Connect. It was really nice to meet him up at Maker Camp Winter Intensive. It was even nicer to spend some time with him today to get to know a little more about him. If you'd like to see some of Odell's work, please go to Instagram. His handle is @Odell_Daniels. That's Odell with 2 L's. And thank you to my listeners for joining me today on Create and Connect. I do have a favor to ask you. Could you share this video or any of the other episodes that you like with some other makers, creators, artists that want to connect? Thank you again for joining me, and remember, keep creating, keep connecting.